Oh, white people. We've all seen them. We may even know some. Look, here's some on a boat. These smug, suit-wearing, boating creatures are not the most popular in the world at the moment.
White people.
I hate white people. All of us?
Yes, Scarlett, all of us. And let's make it perfectly clear. In the 21st century, you can never insult or stereotype anybody due to the color of their skin. Unless they're white. I won't waste time justifying my belief in equality. I'll just say that the people you're seeing on the screen now are amongst the most loathsome in the world. Good? Okay, let's move on. Today we're not looking at the self-hating, self-flagellating ultra-liberal. No, today we're going to look at how Chinese popular culture isn't exactly on board with whitey. Let's begin by looking at Wolf Warrior 2. If you thought the title was corny, you haven't heard anything yet. This film is full of such powerfully transparent propaganda, it makes Goebbels and the Nazis look only mildly enthusiastic for Hitler by comparison. So this film first came to my attention a few years ago when I was on a flight leaving China and was treated to the in-flight spectacle of watching a small Chinese man effortlessly slaughter a horde of angry white and black people. And then when researching for this video, it was one of the first things that came up. But let's take a look. For those people who physically suffer when they cringe, I suggest you look away now.
You know, they say violence never solves anything. It sure is fun. Man, look at this. Oh, I love these things.
我是来救你们的。我这有18杆 AK， 30枚7.9式手雷，够武装一个加长牌了吧？你他妈怎么救我们啊
？Wolf Warrior.
男人就该玩这个。这种仗，战狼会怎么打？
All right, let's move out, boys.
非洲有狼的吗？
Okay, well, there is a lot to unpack there. Judging by the merits of its trailer, it could easily be dismissed as a Chinese Michael Bay-style movie. But critical reception in China was positive, and it is the highest-grossing non-English language movie of all time. Vas-tu faire foutre, Amélie? There's the political angle to the film, of course, about how white Europeans have ruined Africa and continue to do so, while China is the only salvation. Now, this message is obviously in line with China's recent investments in Africa. Most of those investments aren't actually supposed to create jobs for Africans, but instead help China achieve its strategic objectives, with things like access to natural resources. But I don't really want to get into any of that. There are links below that you can read for yourself if you're so inclined. Let's get back on topic by returning to Wolf Warrior 2. Let's look at a Vice News interview with Frank Grillo, who plays the film's main antagonist, Big Daddy. You can tell by the character's name they did their best to try and create a realistic and fully developed character.
There's a lot of flag waving, and in the final scene, the Chinese hero beats up the white American guy. Do you remember your last line in the film? You're about to stab him, and you say, "People like you."
Right. People like you will always be inferior to people like me.
You know that's not what it says in Chinese, right?
No.
So what it says in the subtitles is, in this world, there are the weak and the strong, and your race will always be the weak.
Right.
The Chinese audience is seeing this white American dude telling a Chinese person, you are the weak race,
right.
we are the strong race.
Right.
And then Wu Jin comes up and kills the dude
right.
and says,
then,
that's history.
And then people cheer, I'm sure.
Now, I think you could fairly dismiss this sort of jingoist crap if it wasn't also the most popular Chinese film in history. If you'd like to see a full dissection of this so-called piece of cinema, then I recommend visiting the YouTube channel of Voltaire's Ghost. He made a wonderful analysis piece of this film. But one thing that he didn't mention, I don't think, is something that occurred to me and that perhaps has occurred to you. We've seen plenty of Wolf Warrior 2, so it stands to reason that there is in fact Wolf Warrior 1. This one didn't reach the illustrious heights of the sequel, and we're not going to look at it in any real detail. But it is worth noting that the villain of this piece is, you guessed it, a white guy. Nor are Wolf Warrior 1 and 2 the only culprits. On the same trip to China that I was exposed to Wolf Warrior 2, I was also treated to another movie. From what little I could gather, this one seemed to be about when the British first gained control of Hong Kong. I have no idea what the story was, but I vividly remember one scene when two Chinese men, agents of some kind, broke into a British man's house and held a knife to his genitals. The British man quaked with fear at this display of raw Chinese power while they casually murdered him. I've scoured the internet trying to find this one but haven't had any luck. Who knows, perhaps it's part of some Chinese power box set with Wolf Warrior 1 and 2. But let's not make the mistake of thinking it's only people involved in China's cinema and TV industries who don't like the taste of crackers. The Chinese government expressed its own uneasiness over all people vanilla by branding handsome foreigners a potential risk to national security. This cartoon, which was targeted at female employees of the Chinese government, tells the story of Zhao Li and David. Ah yes, here they are in the park. Oh look, here they are at dinner. What's this? David's brought her flowers. But what should Zhao Li get for David in return? If she can't get him a present, at least she could do something for him. Zhao Li turns to her friend, Filthy Rachel, but she suggests something only girls in Amsterdam will do for large amounts of money. Zhao Li decides on something else, something David had been asking for. After all, what's more romantic than state secrets? And they lived happily ever after. Not really, obviously. David was a spy, he's arrested, she's arrested, and that's that. Zhao Li professes innocence, but of course it does no good. It's her fault, she got mixed up with a handsome foreigner, and they're all spies. It seems to me that whoever thought of this particular campaign has been watching too much TV, especially FX's The Americans, the drama about KGB spies under deep cover in the United States. The cartoon's character of David looks eerily like The Americans' Philip Jennings in one of his disguises. See? It's uncanny, although really it's hardly the first thing being ripped off in China. Now, the last thing I want to show you is also the most uncomfortable. I've talked a lot about attitudes towards white people, but what about black people? The research I've done seems to suggest this is a topic very deep in its own right, but I think the following commercial will give a flavour of the fact that things are hardly harmonious or tolerant. Just watch it and see for yourself.
改变只需一颗俏皮洗衣溶珠，俏皮全国招商热线400-800-5086。
The happy dolphin at the end really does nothing to make that any better at all. Look at him. Racist water mammal. Well, that seems a suitably awkward moment to end things on. This is Central for Sponderculture.